Welcome back to another episode of Soul Flow Conversations. I am your host, Dedrick the Cookie Man, and my co-host, Miss Jessica Fields, is on her way, and she'll be here shortly. But for tonight, we're going to be talking about some controversial things. Probably some things probably going to get under your skin. Some people are going to like it, some people won't, and it doesn't matter because we're going to talk about it anyway. And tonight's podcast is about victim mentalities, the delusional mental illness and the delusional societal ideas that we see almost on a daily basis. And we're gonna just kind of touch base on a few things, because I'm gonna tell you right now, mental illness is very, very real, and the problem is that people who have it don't think they have it. That's the worst part of it. They really don't think that they have mental illness. So, and it's okay that they would think that, because a lot of the times we want to when we hear a lot of these delusional ideas that people have, we want to go back and forth and argue with them and try to shake some sense into them. But honestly, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't help. It doesn't help at all, because their belief, they've convinced themselves so deeply in their delusion that they don't see that it's delusion. They don't see that their irrational delusion is an actual mental illness, and whatnot. And that's the most dangerous part. Welcome, Miss Fields. How you doing?
I'm good. Sorry, I had to get myself together there.
No, it's okay. It's quite all right. Thank you. I already told him. I said, Miss Fields is coming. So, don't sign off just because you see my face. You're going to have to wait until she gets here. Don't sign off yet. So, I told him that you're going to be coming and everything like that. So, yeah. So, I was just letting everyone know what the topic was, which is victim mentalities, mental illness, and the delusional societal ideas. And what I was saying is that, first of all, tell everybody, hey.
Hi. How's everybody? I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody is living and loving life. That's what I got.
All right.
Because ain't
Well, it's
nothing
good to
else
see you.
Oh.
No, I said, well, it's good to see you. That's all I said. Yes.
Oh, it's good to see you too, Milk Dud.
So basically what I was saying is that sometimes we want to argue with these delusional people, irrational people, about factual things that they want to change and do all of this stuff. And sometimes, and what I said, that it doesn't help. It's not going to help, because they've convinced themselves so deeply of their conviction, their delusional conviction. They've convinced themselves, and it doesn't matter what we tell them. It doesn't matter if we show them the facts. It can be written down in plain black and white, and they'll still convince themselves that what they think is the truth. And it's crazy. And it is a mental illness, and we're going to get deeper into it, because like I said, I prefaced before I made the statements I made. I said this show might piss some people off. This show might have a lot of you in agreement. This show is going to shake some things up. But guess what? It has to be said, because a lot of the times, too many times, we compromise what we should not compromise. When we tiptoe around issues that we shouldn't tiptoe around, we need to just talk about it straight up. And a lot of the times, this society is jacked up because people are just letting people be. People are just letting things go. Let them live. Okay. So, and I got my own ideas about all that stuff too. Like I said, we're going to get deeper into it as we go forward and stuff like that. But I need everyone to understand that these topics and stuff like that need to be had, and we're not afraid to tackle those topics and stuff like that here on Soul Flow. And I need everybody to just kind of go pack a bag, go and come back, and sit Indian style, so you can listen to everything we got to say, and hopefully we can get some feedback from you guys. So So, but like I said, there's a lot of issues that we wouldn't have seen 15 years ago that are being accepted now, and stuff like that, such as men being in women's sports. That's one of them. You know what I'm saying? Men, people identifying this identifying as train is ridiculous at this point. It's really ridiculous. We have a lot of individuals. I'll say this: like you have a lot of women feeling like they can just show up and not contribute anything, but they want the best from a man without contributing anything, without being an asset to that man at all. You just feel like being pretty is enough. That's another mental illness, in my personal opinion, as a man. It's a whole lot of things that this society now accepts, and they really shouldn't be accepted. That's why a lot of countries don't take America seriously anymore, because we don't stand for much anymore, and whatnot, and we don't stand 10 toes down on principles and morals anymore. Everything is to acquiesce to political stances, and it's sickening. It gets sickening to a point where you just really can't believe some of this stuff that is being allowed in media, that is being allowed on TV, that is being allowed in politics, that is being allowed in your everyday life when we see it. You know what I'm saying? People are so desensitized that they don't even see what they're doing is wrong, or what they're saying is wrong, and it's crazy. So I'm gonna shut my mouth for a second. And Jessica, if you have anything you want to contribute to the topic to start with, please feel free.
I mean, what you just said is it's spot on. We have gotten into a place where everything is acceptable that we were taught is not acceptable. Um, I don't want to get political, but we did just have a huge um, presidential election, and I think that that's one of the things that uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's one of the things that lost the Democrats their votes is because they accept too many things that are way beyond acceptable. Women's rights, okay, locker rooms, bathrooms, sports. Like you said, 15 years ago, you would not have heard of a man saying, well, I identify as a woman and I want to go and swim with the women's league, or I'm a basketball player, but I identify as a woman, so I'm going to go play on the WNBA and dominate them because I'm still a biological man. There's just a lot of things that society, like you said, it's become desensitized to. Um, and to me, I mean, maybe I'm just old school, but they're not acceptable to me, you know. And that's where the delusional falls in. That's where, the brainwashing comes in, and the media, and um, they make us believe that this is what it's supposed to be. And in my personal opinion, I have to say that, in my personal opinion, that's not what it is. So I definitely agree with you on that part. Um,
Yeah, and the
no, go ahead. That's really all I had.
no, go
I
ahead.
just
You
had
get
to kind of agree with you on that part because we're living in a
okay.
delusional
So
world. So
yeah, yeah, and I wanted to, because I had started seeing a string of videos where you had what's her name, Candace, what's her name, Candace
Candace Owens.
uh, Owens, and
Mhm.
she was pregnant, I guess, recently, and she was at some rally, and she was like, and I'm just paraphrasing, the young lady came to the mic, and she's like, well, how does it feel to know that you have all these individuals who basically is saying that they feel uncomfortable because she's on the campus and whatnot. And she was like, well, get your helmet,
Mm-hmm.
and life is going to be throwing a lot of rocks at you. So prepare for it, grow up. Next question? Like
Just
a lot
just
of the
for
delusion is.
just to be correct,
Go
that was
ahead.
her
Go
first pregnancy. That was about a year ago when that happened. That was about, just
ahead.
to be
Okay.
correct, because we're on the platform. That was about a year ago
Okay.
when she gave birth to her, I want to say, first child, and she was up on the
Okay.
stage, and the person came up and, like you said, was pretty much like, how does it make you feel that a lot of people are intimidated that you're on this college campus and you're against blah blah blah? And she says, man, life is what it is. Grow up, get a helmet. I'm too pregnant for this. Next question. I follow Candace a lot. So I just want to make sure that we have the facts.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the one.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was the one. Because before I didn't really care for her too much because it seemed like every time she spoke, she was tearing down black men. And then when I started hearing a lot of the other takes of a lot of the stuff that was going on, she was hitting it spot on. She was on it. And I started to really respect what she was saying because it was true. Everything that she was putting down was true.
Hmm.
um, that's when I really kind of changed my stance on her because her vision or view on a lot of these societal issues was spot on. You can't, a lot of people want to judge the messenger, but sometimes the truth is just the truth. I don't care who's delivering it. The truth is just the truth. And so when she was, uh, it was her, Mr. Shapiro, the Jewish guy, and whatnot,
Ben
who was
Shapiro.
also taking on a lot of these issues. And the crazy part is that he always remained calm in these situations. He didn't get all emotional and stuff because he knew what he was talking about. So I remember this panel discussion he was having with a transgender guy, and the guy was a big guy, wig and all this stuff, and he's sitting there, and his response to because I think he said something, and the lady that was sitting across from him said, "You have to respect our what was it, pronouns or whatever the heck." So you got to respect our pronouns. And the guy was like, "Be careful what you say." He's like, "Listen, the truth don't care nothing about your feelings. The truth don't care about your feelings. The truth is just gonna be the truth." And the guy, the transgender person, threatened him basically, and whatnot. Right after that, he's like, "Oh, so that's what you're resorting to when people don't agree with everything that you're saying?" He said that's something I'm not understanding. Because if you're right about your idea about, because you're telling me to call you something that clearly you're not. So why are you getting upset with me because I don't co-sign what you're trying to put out there? That's basically what I'm saying. And that's the biggest thing I'm saying is that you want to be treated as equals. You want to be treated with all this respect and all this other stuff. But yet, when someone disagrees with you, you're all in your feelings. Oh, you don't understand what you're saying, and da-da-da. And I'm just like, okay, well, then prove to me how is it that you wake up one day and say, I feel like a woman, and then suddenly you are. Do you know how
Yeah.
disrespectful that is to real women?
Yeah.
Because number one, real women go through things men can't possibly fathom. You understand? So you just wake up one day and say, "Hey, I'm a woman," and then you participate in these sports. You participating and you beating these women in setting records, which shouldn't even be allowed. Well, you're a man in a woman's sport. We're built different. So you sit there and say, well, okay, well, this should be allowed. How is that fair for women who have trained their whole life to be the best of the best among their peers? You're
Oh my
not
God.
peers. You're
You
not
know,
another woman.
it's funny that you said that because I think I don't know if I made a post about it or if I commented on somebody else's post, but I was talking about, because we got this whole thing going on and everybody's upset because of the presidential race and stuff like that. And the major thing was they were talking about women's reproduction rights. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, women's right in general, right? So I said, well, why is it that it only seems to stop at reproduction rights?
Mhm.
I said, why am I? I'm not hearing nothing about, women, like you just said, women who have trained their whole lives, who work hard to compete in a sport with their peers. And then they have a biological man come in and say that they're a woman and they get dominated in what they've trained their entire life to do because biologically he's going to be probably better. Um, than you. We're not talking about the, women's rights of um, having privacy in your locker rooms and in your bathrooms. Everything seems to be reproduction rights, but all the other women's rights are out the window. You have women who uh uh they go to beauty pageants and stuff like that. We've had biological men be crowned like Miss Kansas, Miss Virginia, Miss this, Miss that. And these other women, biological women, have to deal with that because politically, to be politically correct in this day and age, you can't say, well, that's not a woman, that's a biological man, so it doesn't count. You can't say that. And that's the delusional part that gets me because I don't know about anybody else, but as a woman, if I'm working hard to be great in a sport to compete with my peers, I don't want to compete with a man. That'd be like Mike Tyson tomorrow saying he was Michelle Tyson. You think I'm gonna go in the ring with Michelle Tyson? I'm gonna get knocked out. What? I'm being sincere. But I'm not wrong.
Oh my God. Could you imagine? Oh my
No, that's
God.
exactly my point.
Oh my God.
If Mike tomorrow said he was Michelle Tyson and said, I want to fight you, I'd be like, nah, I'm good, bruh. But I shouldn't have to do that. You
No.
have women who are literally, finally saying, enough is enough. We're not going to play if you allow that person to play. How fair
Yeah.
is that to those women
Yeah. It's not
that have
fair at
been
all.
working their butt off?
Not fair at all.
That's not fair. But again, we're in this delusional state in the country, in America, because we pretty much the only, I ain't going to say the only ones, but we're probably the most liberal on it. I can't speak for all countries, but I'm thinking that we're probably the most liberal on it. Um, where this shit happens, and I don't think it's cool. I don't think that's
I
cool
agree.
at all.
I agree 100%. And the issue I'm and the other issue behind that is that these athletic commissions, they know it's wrong.
Hmm.
And and the problem is it's excuse me, it's about the boosters, it's about the money that they got coming in because of these transgender individuals. It's about who's backing these transgender people coming in, and they don't want to lose money. Screw morality. Screw what is right. You worried about what's coming into your pockets because there's no way in the world that you literally think that it's right. It's the right thing to do to have grown men compete against women. Those women are the top of the top, the elite of the elite at what they do amongst their peers. And then you're going to put a man in there who identifies as, who maybe cut off his wang to say he's a woman, First of all, that's still a man. His DNA didn't change just because he took hormone treatments. He's still a man. His bone density, his muscle twitch and capacity is different. It's always going to be different. You can put a 180-pound man and a 180-pound woman, and those individuals will be dramatically different. Their structure is different. Their muscle reactions and twitch is different. Their strengths are different.
You know, there was so I don't know, for some reason I can't stand Ted Cruz. I just don't like him. But one day I watched him in the Senate, and he was talking to a panel of people, and I'll never forget. It was about transgenderism in sports, and he says, "Well," so he asked, of course, the basic question: "Is there a biological difference between men and women?" And of course, they danced around the answer because they didn't want to come out and say it is. They wanted to be politically correct. And he says, "Well, if there's no difference between women and men biologically, why do we even have women's sports and men's sports? Why don't we just abolish men and women's sports, and little Johnny can swim with Kim and Kim can play with LeBron?" There's obviously a reason why we made separate athletic departments for women and men, because we are not equal biologically. That's not saying that we are not equal with talent. Let me be clear. Talented people. I don't really watch the WNBA, but I know Angel Reese is I know Caitlin Clark is pretty good from what I hear. You know, you got the tennis, you got basketball, you got football. Well, not really football yet, but for all that, then why have a women's category and a men's category? And that made so much sense. Obviously, somewhere in the past, we recognize that men and women are biologically different. So if they want to play sports, we need to make different categories for them. Therefore, it should still be the same. And again, that doesn't diminish that women aren't as talented as men. It just means that biologically we're different than men.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want, like I said, I don't want to fight Michelle Tyson. I don't want to play LeBron James. Right? I don't want to, because I already know I'm gonna look like, oh shit, I'm about to lose. Like I'm about to lose. He like 6'4". I'm 5'10". Oh yeah, I'm about to lose. But again, like we gotta get back to reality, in my opinion.
Yeah. And that everything that you said is nothing but the truth. I mean, there's too much delusion going on. I also watched a video where the guy was standing, he was outside. He asked people, he said, "Listen, I'm going to be on your campus. I'm going to be in this area." And quite frankly, I was getting a lot of pushback from some of the things that I've said. So you guys can come to the event. I'm going to be there. I'll be right here to answer any questions that you have. And you had various individuals coming up to the mic. And a lot of it had to do with this, her, him, she, he, whatever they do. And the thing is that he asked them very simple questions. He says, I think one time he asked them, one person came up and asked him, what was it? Something to the effect of it was about equal. It was, what was it? Anyway, it'll come back to me. But basically, and he calmly answered their questions and asked them a question right back to them, and they couldn't answer it. So, and then the question that is always the question: what is a woman? And as soon as they started in, well, it's a person who identifies as wrong.
That's Matt Walsh. So it's either you got probably Matt Walsh,
yes,
you got Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, and there's a woman that does the same thing. Huh? There's a woman that also does it too. She entertains women as well. Not women. She entertains questions. She fields questions. I think they sit around in a room,
Hmm.
and everybody holds up a flag if they have something to say. But you,
I've
you
seen that.
yeah,
I forget her name though, but
yeah,
the three that I mentioned are going to be your most ones that you're probably
yes,
talking about.
yes. And so, and the craziest part of it is they're talking about, it's a person who believes that it's the idea of, first of all, you're not answering the question. They ask you a direct question. What is a woman? This is a biological question. This is a factual question that you can answer in just a short sentence. And they can't or won't do it.
Have
And
you
I'm just like, what are you
have you
doing?
watched the documentary of What Is a Woman by Matt Walsh?
No, I did not. I
You
did
should.
not. I think
You
I've
should.
seen some clips from it, but I don't think I watched the whole docu. I know I haven't. I know I have. I will remember that.
Yeah, look it up and watch it. It's very very interesting.
Okay, okay. I'll do
I
that.
watched it. I actually follow Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, and Matt Walsh as well. And like you said, they're pretty. They you can't argue with them when it comes to that topic. They will shut you
Mhm.
down very very quickly. I
Yeah.
remember one time Matt Walsh was at one, and there was a a guy. He clearly looked like a guy, in my opinion. He just had long hair and some earrings on and a headband, and he identified as a woman and said that he was a paramedic. And so Matt Walsh came. He said, "Wait a minute, let me ask you a question." There, he said, "So you said you're a paramedic, right?" And so the person was like, "Yes." And he said, "So let me ask you a question." He said, "So you get a call. You're the paramedic on call, and you arrive to the scene, and you have this person who you can clearly see is a biological male, and you're asking them questions because you want to assist them. And so you're asking questions like, 'What's going on?' And that biological male tells you, 'I think I'm having a miscarriage.' He says, are you going to further entertain that as a paramedic, knowing that that person is a biological male? Or are you going to dismiss it because you know he's a biological male? You know that he's not having a miscarriage. And that person, you could hear a mouse pissing on cotton. Couldn't answer the question.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah. So definitely when it comes to them, they're on point, and they make their stands, and they make their points very very well. And it's one thing, let me be clear, because this is recorded. I love everybody. I do.
Hmm.
I love everybody. You good to me, I'm gonna be good to you. You want to be a giraffe, be a giraffe. I don't care. Okay. But you have to understand that people don't have to fall under your delusion.
Right.
So if you tell me you're a giraffe and I say no, you're Tony, and that's what I'm going to address you as, you can either be mad about it or you can accept it. One of the two. You can't force people to believe your delusional state. That's my thing. Now, I will never ever flat out be rude. I think I've told you before. I have a very good friend who is a transgender woman who has
Hmm.
transitioned all the way. I mean all the way.
Hmm.
And I don't disrespect her. When I speak to her, I call her. I say, "Hey girl, how you doing?" But she's grown, for one. She went through the process. And when I tell you I had a long conversation with her, went through the entire, when I say counseling, I'm talking about 4 or 5 years of
Hmm.
counseling. She did not do it until she was sure, because she realized that she had great counselors that told her, once you do this, there is no turning back, right? But at the same time, the reason why I respect her and I will call her her is because she also does not believe in like pushing shit down people's throats.
Hmm.
She just says, I just want to live my life the way that I feel feel free. She says, I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in pushing it in schools. They need to stay out of these children's lives.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe I'm very transparent with who I am. And I don't expect for anybody to accept it. And if they choose to accept it, they do. And if they choose not to, I say okay, because I
Mm-hmm.
understand that it's different. And that's why I respect her so much.
Right.
But you have a
Right.
lot of these people that they don't do that. They just
Mm-hmm.
demand it and have there's nothing else to it.
Mm-hmm.
I
But you
don't
know
know.
what? And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you gave that example. Because when it came to homosexuality and this and stuff like that, I was raised a certain way. And because I wasn't that way, I didn't agree with it. Because I didn't believe that way, I didn't agree with it. However, just like you said, I love everybody. But I am not going to be made or forced to believe whatever it is that you feel. Now, your life is your life. I can't put my beliefs on your life and say, hey, you got to accept what I believe. No. If this is your life, then you live your life. But don't try to force feed me what you think is what it's supposed to be. Now, if you go about your life living it as a regular human being, but you live it a certain way, that's your lifestyle, that's what you do. You make love to whoever you want to make love to behind closed doors. That's your business. I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's a decision you have to make. I don't got no heaven or hell to put you in. Period. So I'm not going to be the person to judge you in that way. First of all, if you ask me what my beliefs are, I'm gonna tell you what my beliefs are. Now, if you don't like it, then that's your problem. That sounds like a you problem. However, I'm not going to treat someone differently because of their sexuality or what they decided to do with their bodies. That's not my business. It's not my problem. And stuff like that. So my thing is that I've had people try to attack me online before, calling me homophobic and all this other stuff, which I laughed off because what people don't understand is I have a gay son. So to call me homophobic would be pretty stupid. I'm not hypocritical at all. My son knows how I feel about the whole situation. However, I do realize that that is him. That is who he is. I'm not going to sit there and make him suffer just because I don't believe this way or that way or the third. I'm not going to do that. But I treat him like my son. I don't treat him like my gay son. I treat him like my son, period. And that's the end of it for me. He's not flamboyant. He carries himself just like a young man does and stuff like that. But he's what he is. I don't care anymore when it comes to that. I'm not about to lose my only son because I'm being thick-headed or homophobic. I'm not doing that. Just when I was in college, my college started as a fashion design school. So guess what? They're going to be there. I never treated anybody wrong. I never treated anybody different. And when one person tried me, I checked them on the spot very, very convincingly so that he wouldn't do that again. I was one of those individuals that explained to him, don't you ever do that again. Because if you brush up against my homies, they're going to put you in the hospital. So I'm going to tell you this once. Don't you ever do that. And all the while, I had my forearm up in his neck, under his chin. You don't do that. You're supposed to respect anybody's space and personal space. You don't do that. You have conversations with people to see where they are. And if that's where they are, then that's when you proceed to do whatever it is y'all do. I don't know what y'all do because I'm not that way. But understand something. I'm not going to treat you differently. And every day when I see him, I throw up a hand or whatever the case is. Ain't no harm, no foul. But you do have those people who are homophobic. You do have those people who are closed-minded. They think it's gonna get on them somehow. That's not how it works. And I'm glad you gave the example of your friend because your friend was very respectful. He did not, well, anyway, they did not push it off on you. They didn't try to force feed it to you. They didn't try to make you feel some kind of way. They didn't. They were who they already were, a decent human being. That's how I'm going to treat you, as a decent human being. I'm not going to treat you any different than I would treat anybody else. And that's the problem with a lot of people in this society. They want to force you into changing the way you feel or to believe. That's not, you don't do that. If you're going to live your life a certain way, live it. But don't try to force that onto somebody.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, that's why I have the respect that I have for that individual because,
Mm,
and I've known him for sure, over 2 decades. And that's who he's always been, unapologetically so,
mm,
but again, I respect him because he went through the process. He went through the counseling. And then, like I said, let me stop saying he because I do respect her that much. Um, she's the person that I go to when I have questions.
mm.
When I see something and I say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Because this
Right,
is your lifestyle and this is how you live. What do you
right.
think about this? And she will give me honest feedback. Like I remember when it started going on in the schools, like when you had
Mhm.
drag queens reading to fourth graders. She was like, "Oh, hell no, 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 that's grown activity. We
Right,
do that at the
right,
club. Like
right.
we get dressed and we go to the club. We ain't supposed to be going to the school." And believe it or not, you actually have a lot of transgender movements who are against grooming.
Mm.
You actually do, because a lot of, not all of them are trying to groom children. A
Right.
lot
I
of
agree.
them
I
are
agree.
just wanting to live their lives, and they even say, well, no, 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 leave the kids the fuck alone. I'm sorry, the hell alone. Don't do that, because I had the choice. I got to have the choice, and I want the children to have that choice too. So again, I think that's an important thing, and I say that because I understand that gender dysphoria is a real thing. But I also understand that sometimes kids just confused.
Hmm.
Momo wants to be a mermaid. Am I supposed to chop her legs off and put some fins on her and throw her in the ocean because she
Nope.
wants to be a mermaid?
Nope.
And then tomorrow she'll want to be, I don't know, she'll want to be a unicorn. Am I supposed
Right.
to drill a horn in her head so she could be a unicorn? No. So and this is strictly talking about young children,
Yes.
not grown-ups.
Hmm.
So when these children are coming to you saying, "Oh, I feel like this, I feel like a girl, I feel like a boy," no, that's when your job is to correct them and say, "Well, no, baby, you know, you're not that. This is what you are." You know, I Momo wanted to be Ursula. I went on Amazon and I bought her some tentacles that blow up. And so now she's Ursula when she wants to be. And then when she's done being Ursula, she takes it off and she's Momo again. Right? I'm
Right.
not going to sit here and chop her legs off and give her tentacles. So, same aspect, you know.
Yeah. Because I definitely disagree with people who are um, doing this gender reassignment crap to children. And I'm just like, what are y'all doing? These are kids. These are
Exactly.
kids. Now, if they want to make that decision when they turn 21, do what you do. But these are children.
Hmm.
This is irreversible stuff that you're doing to them,
Hmm.
that you're allowing and that you're enabling. And you as a parent are not being a parent.
I
You're
mean,
being an
look,
enabler over something these kids don't quite understand.
think of it this way: they can't buy cigarettes, they can't buy alcohol, they can't go to the club, they can't listen to the army until what, 18, or Navy, whatever, military. But at 9, they know that they want a gender reassignment. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
We have rules for a reason because we know that logically, emotionally, and mentally, that as young children, they don't have it. That's why they can't get driver's license. That's why they can't drink, and that's why they can't do this, and that's why they can't do that, because we know that there's an emotional, illogical aspect to young beings until they hit a certain age. So you mean to tell
Mm-hmm.
me my son can't get a driver's license until he's 18? He can't buy a drink till he's 21, but he could change his gender at 9? Nah. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nope.
And here's my thing: if you and I can sit here and make no sense of it, you tell me how is it that a government can sit there and pass some kind of legislation or law or whatever to enable this? How can the states make these decisions over parents? Well, how can you allow like we're normal people? I would think we're pretty normal people.
Yeah, we're
So
pretty
you mean to
normal.
tell me we can sit up here and logically explain why this isn't a good thing? And you mean to tell me statewide, federal wide, whatever, you can't see that? What's the agenda? Because it has to be something. It's not just because we want people to have rights. First of all, freedom is one thing, and we got to pay for that.
Money. 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 Do you know how much a transition actually costs? It's
A lot,
pharmaceuticals. It's
yeah.
it's it's surgeries. That costs a lot of money. They make
That's
money
crazy.
off of this.
That's crazy.
Because
That's crazy.
I did ask my friend, I didn't get too personal, um, and they didn't give me a figure, but they said I might as well had just ended up homeless as much as it cost me. You're talking in the range, and this person has bottom surgery, top surgery. Um, I got the cheekbones shaved. Even something with the voice box. I didn't even know you could do that to sound more feminine. I didn't even know you
Wow.
could do that. And
Wow.
if I had to guess from what they were saying, just those alone, and that's probably with insurance or something like that. I don't know. I don't know the full scope of it, but at least 500,000 at the
Whew,
least.
good Lord.
My
All
foot
of the
surgery cost.
all of
Look,
the hormone therapies.
exactly. All the hormone
Man,
therapies, the counseling
mm,
sessions, all of this is profit.
that's a
My
lot.
foot, I had a foot surgery that cost $112,000. If a funky ass foot costs $112,000, I can't imagine what a vagina costs. Okay, I'm just saying.
Oh my God. And
So,
I saw the surgery of what they reconstruct how they do what they do. And
mhm.
I'm just like, hell no. There's no way. No, no. And they got it down to a science to the point to where if you don't really know what you're looking for and if you don't really pay attention, you could be fooled. You could be fooled if you ain't really paying attention to what's going on or whatever. You could literally be fooled.
Mhm.
And
And but
it's
here's
crazy.
the thing too that kind of gets me, and this is something that my friend says, and which is why they waited until they were older, right? Because he's a biological male who transitioned to female. Now, obviously, he's not going to be able to have children because he's totally bottom transition. So there's no more sperm. I'm just keeping it a buck. There's
Hmm.
no way for the sperm to get out, even if the sperm is still in him. So he had to make that decision like, okay, do I want children or do I not want children? Okay, I'm such and such year old. I think he was like 29 when he did it.
Hmm.
And he's like, no, I really don't want children. This is really the life that I want. But when you do that to somebody who's 10, 12, 14,
Yep.
then you turn around and then when they turn 19, 20, 21, and they actually get out into the world, now they're like, oh crap, I wanted kids.
Mm, that part.
I wanted kids. There's one girl, she's actually very famous. She has spoken in many Congress hearings against against like transitioning young children.
Hmm.
Um hold on, let me make sure I got it right. She transitioned into a boy because she was a
Mhm.
tomboy, so they just gave her testosterone. They cut off her breasts. Her breasts are cut off. And then with the testosterone, the likelihood, even though she's now um, detransitioned back to a woman, she probably won't be able to have kids. And then
Hmm.
she said, and even in the off
Hmm.
chance that I do have children, she said, I'll never be able to breastfeed my children because I've cut off my breasts. And, but let me
Hmm.
be fair when we talk about this, because a lot of that is the medical staff's fault. Because you ever pay attention to Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Elon Musk has a trans son. Is a trans son. And you can tell when he talks about him that he's heartbroken, not because he's trans, but because he feels like he was ill informed. That when they sat down, when the doctors sat down with him, it was like, well, if you don't do this, then, this could be a problem and your son may commit suicide and just not be good, so we need to do this right away for the safety of your son. And he admits it. He says, me being ignorant to all of that, all I cared about was my son and I wanted him to be okay. He said, but now I no longer have a son. I will never have a son again, no matter what, because the things that they did, that the he calls it poison, which I guess you can kind of say that, that they have injected him with, he will never be a man again. He won't be a man.
Hmm.
And a lot of doctors, they do that. They'll say, oh, well, matter of fact, the girl that I was talking about said that the doctors told her parents, well, would you rather have a dead daughter or an alive trans son? That's what the doctor said to her parents. So of course the parents,
Wow.
they're just like, oh my God, I don't know, because this was a while back. This was when all this stuff started. So they're like, oh my God, I don't know. Okay, yep, you're right. I would rather just have my child to be alive versus, so yes, give them whatever they need. And those doctors push that. And that's a fact. You can look that up.
And that's and I don't feel like that's a doctor's place to try to
Mm-mm,
guilt trip a parent into conceding to change a child's life like that.
mm-mm.
I don't give a crap how much the child protests. And that's just my opinion. Because a lot of people say, well, I want my child to be okay. Of course, you want your child to be okay, but not at the detriment of their health. I'm sorry, but that's something that you cannot undo. Once it's done, it's done. And that child is too young to sit there and make a life-changing decision like that. I'm sorry. That child does not know what, and it's a minor. You're the person who's over that minor. You put your foot down and say, no, I'm not going to allow this. Now, when she turns or he turns 21 or whatever the case is, then they can make legally that decision for themselves because they're an adult at that point. If you, as an adult, still feels like this is what you need to do, then you do what you need to do. I'm not going to sit there and say I agree with it, but at that point, they're an adult. They're an adult. I will have already said everything I needed to say to them regarding that. I will have already done some. We've already had a conversation. But if they still feel like that's the direction they need to go into, they're at a legal age that they can make that decision for themselves as an adult. I'm not making that decision for a child. I'm not. That's just something I'm not. I refuse to ever do. I couldn't ever make that decision and change that child's life like that just because they feel some kind of way. Okay, you could be feeling some kind of way right now for a year, and then the next year you're feeling something totally different. You know what I'm saying? So
I
you
was going
don't you don't want to put the child in there. Say again.
No, I was gonna say last week Momo loved bananas, and now all my bananas is rotten.
Oh Lord.
I'm just making the point.
I bet.
Like children don't know. One week they love bananas, the next week they don't. One week they love chicken nuggets, and like I made something the other day, and Ethan looked at me. He said, "I don't like that." I said, "You used to like it." He said, "I don't like it no more." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I wish you would have told me because I would have made something different. I want you to eat
Mm-hmm.
dinner. Like I didn't know you didn't like that. All right, well, go eat whatever you're gonna find, you know." But here's another thing
Yep.
that I like to add to that before we move on.
Uh-huh.
In that whole thing, when we're talking about transgenderism and rights and LG, well, I ain't even gonna say LG because believe it or not, the LGBT, no, hold on, lesbian, bisexual, gay, the LGB, actually, a lot of them don't even rock with the transsexuals right now. Um,
I've seen that as well.
because
Yeah.
yeah, because it's like, hey, y'all doing a little bit too much now. The problem that I have too though is legally. So, not too long, I think it was like 2 years ago, and a teacher in Virginia, in Fairfax, Virginia, got fired from his job because he was religious, and he refused to call a student by a pronoun, by their preferred
Mm.
pronoun. He says, that is
Mm-hmm.
against my religion. I'm not going to do that. And he lost his job. Now, he did win his court case. He got a nice little settlement. Good for him. Good for him, in my opinion. Because at
Mm-hmm.
that point, where do our rights, why do our rights end where theirs begin?
Exactly.
If
Yep.
if if Billy is taking attendance and slips up and he's reading the names. He's not doing nothing but reading the names. And Kevin
Mm-hmm.
decides that day that he's Keisha, and he wants to go file a complaint against Billy for calling him Kevin instead of Keisha. He's in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he likes to be called Keisha. He was like, it was a slip up. Well, you got to be more careful because this we can't do that. Equality, and yeah, we will get a lawsuit. So again, like where do our rights why do our rights end where theirs begin? That's my biggest thing. if
Yeah,
if
I,
i
I
if i
agree.
mis if I misgender you, um luckily I'm not out in the world like that I don't have to deal with it, thank God, because y'all know I'm petty, and not on purpose, but I just am. And so it's like, if I accidentally misgender you, like I don't know you. If I see you and you look like a dude, I might be like, "Yo, hey, bro, what's up?" I'm not a bro, I'm a sis. Oh my bad,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. But then next thing you know, he could be at my boss's office. She misgendered me. I felt disrespected, and guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna
Mm-hmm.
reprimand me. Now that part, I don't agree with at all.
No, and I agree. That's because it's unfair. How do you know when you walk into a situation that's the situation? I remember seeing a show. I forgot what show it was, but basically, his son went missing. And he was trying to find his son. He went over to his son's best friend's house, and instead of addressing the real issue at hand, that friend started talking about, well, no, it's she. It's da, 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 da. Dude was like, listen, I don't have time for your freaking games. My son is missing. I don't have time for this. I'm trying to get information from you so I can locate my son. Do not start with me with this bull crap. Do not, because I don't give a crap what y'all call him. That is my son at the end of the day. I
Oh
came
wow, I
here
didn't
because
see
he's
that.
your best friend. He's the person that he talks to the most. I'm coming to you for information on where he could possibly be so I can find him and see if he's okay.
Oh wow.
You own this. Well, it's he heard him. Dude, don't let me knock your jaw loose with this crap. This is not the freaking time. I'm not playing games. This is about life and death.
Oh, I
And it's
didn't
like
see that.
sometimes it's to the point where people don't know where the end their stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because sometimes it's not that deep. And then for me, I'll just call them by their name if I know their name. I'm just gonna call you by your name. I'm not playing them games with you. I'm not gonna be playing them games with you because just like with the teacher, first of all, I don't have to co-sign your delusion. I do not have to buy into your delusion. You woke up one day and say, "Hey, I'm a woman." Listen, Tom. That's what I'm going to call you, Tom. Okay, it's Thomasina. Tom, I don't know you by nothing else but Tom. Well, I just told you it's Thomasina. Whatever. Fine.
Look,
You can be
look.
Thomasina. You can be Thomas Train if you want to. All I'm saying is,
Billy has students. Billy, we were talking about this the other day because we were talking about the election and stuff like that. And so we
okay.
got on this topic as well. Billy has students where they will physically tell him, Mr. Fields, when you talk to my parents, you need to make sure you call me by my real name. But when I'm in class, you got to call me by this name. So if his name is Kevin,
Huh?
okay, let's say his name is Kevin. So let's say he needs to make a phone
Uh-huh.
call to the parents for whatever. He has to say, hey, Kevin ain't acting right in class. But in class, if Kevin wants to be called Keisha, Billy has to call him Keisha. The students will physically tell him, if you talk to my parents, make sure you use my biological, my name that was given, my birth name, because they don't know. I can't make it up.
Hmm.
And guess what? If he doesn't do it, guess who's out of a job? And guess who got to go back to work? Me. I got to go back to work because he going to lose his job.
That's
I
crazy.
promise you that.
That's crazy.
That's the part I don't agree with. Like I said, live your
That's
life. Be whoever you want to be. I don't give a shit if you want to be Barney, you want to be Ronald McDonald, a unicorn, a frog. I don't care what you want to be. But when you start to impose that on other people, and then especially if that if those people have beliefs that go against yours, you can't just say, well, the hell with your beliefs. You got to honor my beliefs. If I'm a full
mm-hmm.
blown Christian, which everybody knows I'm not, but if I'm a full blown Christian and I say, I don't believe in that, and I'm not calling you anything but what your mother named you, and I'm not calling you anything that was not assigned by God, then I lose my job? Nah, not cool. And that's where we are. Hell, even your politicians, if you ever look on their website, I challenge you to look on their websites. Damn near all of them, unless they're real red, unless they're Republican, real red, um, mostly the Democrats, they'll have their name there, and underneath they'll have their pronouns. I go by he, she. I go by them, they. I go by him, he. They will literally put it underneath their names. That's how far we've gotten in this society with this.
I seen I don't know what kind of meeting it was or what kind of forum it was, but every time they came up to the podium, up to the microphone or whatever to speak, they had to do that,
Hmm.
which was
Hmm.
just weird to me. I'm just like, okay,
Yeah, I'm not doing all that. My name is Jessica Fields. That's what you. That's all you, Mrs. You can call me Mrs. Fields. You can call me Jessica. You can call me her or she. That's it. And I'm not even gonna tell you to call me her or she because that's to me that's supposed to be obvious.
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be obvious. But again, that's the world we live in. And that is I was talking to a friend earlier, and that's one of the things that really hurt the Democrats in this election because they were so for everything just being all willy nilly. Um, and the Republicans, I'm not going to say Trump because it's not Trump, it's the Republicans as a whole. They're not really for it. And so a lot of these people are like panicking right now because they're like, oh my God, now we can't be who we want to be. No, it's not. We're not saying you can't be who you want to be. But you can't tell us that we have to accept who you want to be. That- that's pretty much the end of that. So I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that was one big situation because when you're dealing with a country that's majority Christian, in my opinion, I think it's majority Christian. Like that is going to appeal to a whole lot of people. That's going to appeal to a whole lot of people, especially those individuals who believe in God and stuff like that. There's a certain uh, principle and moral obligation that they serve. They don't co-sign that. Oh, just let people do what they want to do. No, there's a moral code. There's a standard. There's principles involved here. And when you don't adhere to that and you just let everything go and you compromise everything and you don't stand for nothing, that strikes a chord with most of America. And you
Well,
can't sit there and
actually,
be like, okay, well,
I was just gonna say, actually, I looked it up. It says 33% of America is Christian. Because you gotta remember, you have your Catholics, you have your Muslims, you have you have your Buddhists, the Asian Americans that come over, you have your Amish, but overall, they all still pretty much have the same basic core values. None of them are really straying away from the basic principles of um, God makes no mistakes. So if you were
mhm,
born a boy, you're a boy. If you were born a girl, you're a
yeah,
girl.
yeah.
Um, so again, I because I did look, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to put that out there because I'm forgetful. I think it said 33% of Americans are actual Christians, but then you have to factor in the Christians, the Catholics, the Muslims, the Buddhists, uh, Hinduism, because you have Indians over here, because we're a big melting pot. But they stated at the end of the day, the common core values are all really the same, regardless of their faith.
Hmm. Yep. And I think that was a huge miss for them because it's just one of those things that you can't ignore that kind of thing because that is what people live their lives based off of certain principles and moral values and standards, and stuff like that. No matter how much society is changing, people's beliefs don't typically change like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It is what it is. And stuff like that. I don't sit around whining about the results because I kind of seen it leaning that way anyway. But it was what it was. Um, so I don't know. And then um, segue into because we were talking about delusional ideas and mental illnesses because and a lot of us do believe that when people are believing that you can wake up one day and just be something else altogether, I feel like that's a mental illness because there's no way in the world in your common sense world that you can literally believe that if you woke up and say, "Hey, I'm a panda," that you're actually a panda. That's a mental illness. Okay, if I woke up and say, "Hey," because if that's the case, I'm a millionaire. Okay, I'm gonna need the
That's the one
banks
I'm
to,
picking.
huh?
I said that's the one I'm gonna pick.
I want to identify
That's the
as
one
a
I'm.
millionaire.
You know what I'm saying? I want my bank account to identify that and reflect that as well. Okay,
Right.
and that's after taxes. Okay, so if you don't mind, go on ahead because I'm gonna sue y'all if you don't co-sign my identification. I just identified as a multimillionaire, so I'm gonna need you to reflect my bank account. Let my bank account reflect that fact. Okay. So if it's as easy as that, let's go ahead and go all the way. Let's go ahead and let's identify with everything that we want. But but I just feel like it's such delusional. We've enabled so much delusion to the point where people have lost their whole identities. They've lost. Everybody's just desensitized altogether. And it's just common sense ain't so common anymore. And it's been that way for a little while now. And as soon as you say something, you remember when the cancel culture was hard. It was out there. People was trying to cancel everybody because they didn't agree with whatever your little simpleton, your simple mindedness came up with. If you didn't agree, oh, you hate fat people because you don't like what Lizzo had on. First of all, right is right, wrong is wrong. She shouldn't have cut the butt out of her dress and went to a basketball game, a professional basketball game, and twerked on the sideline. Why would you, as a grown woman, do that? I don't give a crap if you tiny. You can be thin, pencil thin. It wasn't even about the fact that she was a large woman. It was about the fact that you literally, on purpose, cut the butt out of your dress and went to a professional basketball game where there are going to be kids, families, and then your rebuttal is, oh, well, the cheerleaders is half dressed. First of all, this is American society. We know how cheerleaders dress. We know how cheerleaders dress. So what are you even talking about? The two aren't the same. So you literally did that to draw attention to yourself. And then when you got all the backlash, you're going to get on some social media with your victim mentality, crying in it with these little crocodile tears because you got so much negative backlash because of what you did. First of all, you can't straddle the fence on this. You made a conscious decision as a grown woman to do this. Then when people didn't co-sign your madness, you decide to, number one, make it a plus size woman empowerment thing, which to my knowledge, plus size women didn't need to be empowered by exposing yourself like that. I know gorgeous plus size women, and they carry themselves very, very well. They don't need to expose themselves to say, hey, I'm big and beautiful. They don't need to do that. They just need to present themselves well. But when you didn't get what the response that you thought you should get, oh, you with these crocodile tears, I can't believe that people said this, and I can't believe the response. Ma'am, you did that. And then you got worse with it. You went out doing a whole lot of other stuff. First of all, that's not even freaking necessary. I remember doing a stand-up showcase before, and they really was upset with me because I mentioned Lizzo. You ain't gonna talk about Lizzo. Well, first of all, if she's doing stupid stuff, I have the right to call it out as a person who's observing this. He's put it out in public. I am public. I am public. So if you don't want to be judged or talked about, then don't do what you're doing. How you gonna protect somebody who don't even know you? They don't know you. And then you're enabling bad behavior. You're enabling this type of behavior. But when somebody call you out on it, you don't want to hear about it. You don't want nobody to say nothing about it. And then all of a sudden you got these crocodile tears, or you taking little pot shots and jabs at people because they are calling out a behavior pattern that is not healthy. It's not a behavioral pattern that is conducive to anything positive. But you don't want nobody to tell you anything because you want to continue with your bad behavior. You want to continue to co-sign the behavior that is not good behavior. You should just let people live, let people do what they do. Okay, well, that's the problem. That's how we got here. Because there's no village mentality. There's nobody holding nobody accountable. You know what I'm saying? Your girlfriends are sitting there looking at you doing bad stuff. Your guy friends sitting there looking at you do bad stuff, and they ain't saying nothing. Oh, he just crazy. He just like that. Oh, girl, go ahead, do you, girl. Do you, girl. So you just co-signing what they're doing, not even worrying about what the consequences are. You got OnlyFans, and then when these men are telling you how men think about OnlyFans chicks, you upset. Well, y'all. Here's the favorite word they got. Y'all just intimidated by a woman with money. First of all, intimidation ain't never crossed our mind. It's the fact that you got all your body parts exposed online, and it's there forever. It's not going anywhere. You got guys who've already saved it. You got guys who save it the moment it hits the net. Mm-hmm. And if should anything happen, your stuff coming right back up to the surface. Even after you've erased your OnlyFans account, after you erased everything, all the porn that you do, but you want the most high quality dude. You want the most high quality guy, but you're not understanding the consequences. You're trying to have children, and you're not understanding the consequences of what you've done. These kids are going to find your mama online, and they're going to roast you because they found your mama online doing God knows what. But I'm sorry, you thinking about money. You're not thinking about the consequences of your actions later on. But you say men are intimidated because you got money. There's so many different ways to make money. Men don't get with women because of the money that they got. Men are the ones that are expected to be the providers, the protectors, and stuff like that. Men don't search for women for what they can provide for them monetarily. That's not how we meet women. That's not why we meet women. That's not why we commit to women. That's not why we marry women. And the sooner women figure that out, the sooner they'll get a clue. But you can't go then now to you so empowered because you're making all this money to a victim mentality because you're not getting your way. I saw on one of the guys' podcasts that he explained to her that she's not going to be the first choice of a high income earning man. He says, "Well, I'm a millionaire and I got one child, so you don't think I deserve this?" He's like, "It ain't got nothing to do with what you think you deserve." He said, "First of all, I want my own kids with a woman. I want my kids with a particular woman. I don't want to have to raise another man's child." And don't sit there and say, "Well, no, I take care of my child." No, a woman with a child is a package deal. I don't give a crap how you try to change it and switch it around. That's a package deal. Either you take the package deal or you ain't gonna take her at all. That's just how it is. So don't sit there and think that, oh, just because you've been taking care of your child, you're supposed to take care of your freaking child. But if a guy comes into her life, he is supposed to take on that package deal. Period.
Well, because
so I'm sorry.
I was going to say, when you think about it, it's because 9.5 times out of 10, when a woman already has a child, that child is with the mother, right? So, yeah, she might have taken care of the child, and I can take care of my child. You don't have to, but to a certain degree, the man has to take care of the child. Because if he's going to be involved with you in a long-term relationship, marriage, going further down the road, he is going to take on the role of stepfather. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. Even if it's just, it doesn't have to even necessarily be financial. It could be emotional, an emotional bond, teaching them how to play football, or teaching them how to ride a bike, teaching them how to change the oil. It doesn't even necessarily need to be financial, which it is too, but you see what I'm saying. So either way you try to twist it, if a woman has a child and a man comes into her life, essentially that man becomes a stepfather.
Yep.
Now, on the other end, if I meet a man and he has a child, but that child doesn't live with him, and me and him decide to get married, I'm not really a stepmother. I'm more of a bonus mom, right? Because I'm not taking care of the child. I don't have to
Right.
teach that child the ABCs and put the band-aids on the boo-boos. I mean, maybe on every other weekend when we got them, but I don't have to do that. But it's different when the woman has the child.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I don't know the percentage, but I'd have to think just from observation and life experience, most times women have the children, not the men. Very few men have full custody of their children. And you know,
Yes.
by that I just mean have full custody and then go and get into another relationship and then have a stepmother. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
So, I mean, I was an example where I was living with my father when he married my evil stepmother. I can't stand her, but whatever. But nevertheless, she was my stepmother because I lived with my father. You know, so yeah, you're absolutely right. Like people, women don't understand that they could talk that yang yang. Talking about, I don't need no man. I just want companionship. I don't need nobody to raise my kids. We got this. But essentially, if you are going to be serious with that man and he's going to enter your life, one way, form, or fashion, he's going to essentially be a part of your child's life as a stepfather role.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's going to be bonding. There's going to be a whole lot of stuff that occurs, especially if it's a real, if it's a serious situation. So the notion that you take care of what you got to take. First, you're supposed to. Like I said, that's a given. You're supposed to. You don't get brownie points to doing what you're supposed to do. But when a man comes into that child's life, and I don't care what the age is, that's something that's expected. You're a package deal. You're not no singular person, and then your child just happens to be some kind of bag, a handbag that you have to pick up every now and again. No, that's yours. That's what comes with you. So and it's just and then when you have men who don't want that, like some women, they take jabs at those guys. First of all, you don't have a right to take jabs at someone for what it is that they want or what it is that they don't want. You just not it. This is like when for me, I'm 5'6". You understand? I'm not no tall dude. I'm not no midget either. Oh, excuse me, no little person either. However, I had to learn a long time ago, very early, that you can't get upset for women who are looking over your head at the tall dude in the back. You're not for them. So why get upset about someone who is not giving you the same energy that you're trying to give them? Let them go to where they want to go. You don't ever want somebody to resent being with you or be with you just because of some pity or you don't want nobody to be with you. You want somebody to be with you because they want to be with you. Period. That's it. If a woman feels safer with a taller guy, then guess what? That's who she should be with. She shouldn't be with me because she's just settling because I'm a nice guy. No, you should be with who you feel good with, who you feel like you're comfortable with. I used to feel some kind of way about that when I was in high school or right after I got out of high school. And then when I was in college, I realized I'm like, what am I tripping for? She don't owe me that. She doesn't owe me anything. She owes herself what it is that she wants for her life. So if she ain't checking for you, you don't need to be checking for her. Period. It's just that. It's just that simple. You got to give you if somebody's giving you energy, you giving them energy. That's where you need to be. If somebody's going to judge you because of your height, something that you cannot change, then you let them be and be cool with them. It's cool. They're just not for you. And I had to learn that early on. I didn't get a victim mentality or a Napoleon complex because you don't like sharp guys because first of all, she don't gotta like sharp guys. I like the women who like me for me. That's
Right.
it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a right to get a victim mentality or a complex because you didn't choose me.
Right.
No, I had to come to that realization quick because there were plenty of young ladies who were giving me time. They never once mentioned my height. So that's how I knew I was in good company where I was. So when I met women throughout since college on, and they judge me because of my height, okay, well that's cool. Well, you take care. It's nice to meet you. Keep it pushing. I'm not giving them no attitude because of that. Their pool is going to be smaller, but that's still nonetheless their pool. I don't care. She's not for me. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I had to put my big boy drawers on and say, you know what, bro, you need to grow up because they don't owe you their time at all. They don't owe you anything. You need to man up and say, listen, okay, you know what? I get it. Good luck to you. And that's it.
Right. And guess what? Let me tell you, women have those things too. Like, I've been rejected because I'm too light skinned, believe it or not.
Okay.
Because I
Okay.
date nothing but black. Well, I'm married now for 15 years. Let me be very clear. I'm not dating right now. But before my husband, like, I've never dated anything but black men, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And some black men would be like, yeah, now you too light skinned. You too light. And I'm like, damn, okay. I thought light skin was cool. Like, all right. But I didn't, like you said, I wasn't like, oh, well, the hell with you and da 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 da. I was just like, oh, all right, cool. All right. There'll be another one coming. And what they say, what was that song? Damn, I can't think of it now. I think it was Gucci Man. In next 15 minutes, another bus will be coming. I was like, it's all right. You good. You know. I've had men tell me I'm too skinny.
Mm.
They like their women thicker. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Have a nice day. I didn't get
Mm-hmm.
mad about it. So like you said, it's people have preferences,
Yeah.
and we can't be mad at preferences. And me and you've had this conversation. Yes, we have. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're too short for me. Like, I love you to death, and your cookies are really good. But I'll say this. Let me be fair.
Hey, hold on. Before you go, let me make sure everybody knows that we were talking about general stuff. We were talking about preferences versus standards.
Yes,
That's what we were talking about. We weren't talking about each other as individuals. We were just talking about,
yes,
in general, she preferred her men to be a certain height. We weren't
right,
talking about us as individuals. So let me make sure we're square on that. So people
right.
don't get like, oh my God, what happened?
Oh my
No,
God,
no.
right?
Reel it in.
But again, I am 5'10". I'm
Right,
5'10". I'm a taller woman. So for
right,
me, I prefer men taller than me, or at the very least my height.
right.
Now I have never ever, I will say this, I've never just dismissed a man because of his height.
Okay,
I didn't just,
okay.
but I will say what you said. I wasn't looking for y'all though either.
Right, right, right,
So if you were standing there and Billy was standing there, y'all could be the
right.
same exact man, and with like personality, values, character, and morals. And I would probably
Mm-hmm.
still go for Billy because he's taller because I'm 5'10". Now I do think
Right.
that is a little bit ridiculous when you got like 4'8" women talking about I need a man 7 feet tall, and I'm like, what are you
That's
into?
crazy.
Like,
That's crazy. That's crazy.
like so if you're 5'6" and there's a woman that's 5 foot and she's like, nah, I want a 7 foot man, and I'm like, oh damn, you trying to climb trees? What the hell going on here?
Right.
But again, for
And
us
have you seen that?
taller
Have you
women,
watched that Pop the Balloon?
I have, unfortunately.
I'm sorry. What were you about to say? I'm not gonna forget what I was gonna say. I'm sorry. You gotta
No, no,
finish what you were
no, no.
saying.
I have,
For you said for
unfortunately.
us
I watched.
taller.
No, I'm just saying, like taller women pretty much are going to at least go for men their height or taller. But I have never just dismissed a man based on his height. I've had a couple of boyfriends that they weren't that much shorter than me, but they were a little shorter than me. Um, but at the end of the day, this is just a preference. I prefer the big teddy bear because I'm the
How tall is Billy?
6'4".
Is it?
Hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Hmm. My dad was
Wow. I didn't
my
know he was
dad
that
was
tall.
yeah, my dad's 6'4". Billy's dad is 6'3". Shit, his mom is
Wow.
5'10". His sister is 5'10". Like
Wow.
we're like the Amazon country over here.
Right, right. Y'all them sequoia trees. Y'all the sequoia tree people.
Look, William's 12 and he's standing eye to eye to me right now at 12
Wow. Wow.
now.
And,
So,
and my son is 6'4".
hmm, yeah. So
That is
we're just
so
a tall
crazy.
family.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, looking at my
Wow.
pictures, people don't be thinking that. They be like, "You that tall?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they be like, "Billy's that tall?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
That's too funny. Wow.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
But again, it boils down to look, even with big women, and let's say that my best friend is big. I love her. Oh my God, I love her so much. She was here last month. She stayed a week. She's Puerto Rican, and she a big girl. And she be, let me tell you a story right quick. So Ethan, when she was here, Ethan was showing out for her, right? Like he had never been around as much as he was then. And he had a crush on I figured it out. He had a crush on my best friend. So, like I said, my best friend, she a big girl. So my best friend, she retarded. I love her. And I've known her for like 30 years. And so she was like, "Yeah, girl, this is what you got to look forward to right here. Oh, this is gonna be your daughter-in-law." And I'm just like, I can't stand it.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious. Oh my
But she's the
God.
type of person, like for example, let me put it like this. For example, we went to water country, right? We went to water country. We got dressed, whatever, whatever. And you know what? She wears clothes that suits her body. Make sense?
Right.
She ain't out here looking like Rasputia. Is that her name from Norbit? Whatever her name is.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
She
Yep.
wears clothes that
That's what
suits
it
her.
is.
And sometimes, like one time, I think I had parked the car too close to another car, and she said, "B, you know I can't get out this car. Fix this car. You know I'm too big to get out this side when you park this close to this car." Like she understands that she's a big girl. See what I mean? She doesn't try to be like, "Oh, you gotta accept me," and no, this is who I am. And guess what? Anybody that loves me is gonna love me for who I am, and I'm good with that. And if I'm not your preference, because we were, we did some girl talk, and she was like, "Yeah, I be having some men," because she's single, and she's like, "Yeah, I be having some men come up to me, and sometimes I realize that I'm just
Mhm.
not their preference, and that's okay, and I just move on to the next." And I'm like, "All right, sis, that's
Right.
what's up," you
And,
know.
and that's the healthy way to do it. And that's the healthy perspective to have. And instead of either beating yourself up about it or you attacking somebody for not accepting you, first of all, they don't got to accept you. If you're not for them, you're just not for them. And I think a lot of people they are under the impression that they're the they're just the bee's knees. They you supposed to want me. First of all, no, that's not how that works. It's okay for you to have confidence about yourself, but don't get it to the point to where you're so conceited that you think you can't be turned down or you think that you can't be rejected or whatever the case is. That really isn't rejection. All that is God's selection. You understand? God's doing the sifting for you. So when people don't accept you as you are, or they have something to say about your appearance, your height, your weight, or whatever the case is, guess what? Or your skin tone, guess what? It's okay. You're just not their person, and it's okay. You don't. They don't have to accept you for you, and it's okay. And you can dismiss them, and like she said, on to the next. And I think a lot of people, they want to make people want them. They want to make people see them. If people don't see you, then they just don't see you. They're not the ones that's supposed to see you. And it's okay. It's okay. But keep your confidence about yourself, because somebody's going to love every inch of you, whether it's wide inches or whether it's taller, shorter inches. What? Because there's some people who don't like taller people. I mean, you have to understand their preferences all around. There's some people, like Jessica said, that don't really date lighter people than them. There's some women who only date really dark men. Like, so it's always something. It's always something, because all of us are individuals. All of us are individuals, and what we like is what we like. What we are comfortable with is what we're comfortable with. And nobody has the right to tell you, hey, you're supposed to choose that person because they are this, that, and the third. They don't get to pick a person for you. They don't get to pick the company that you choose to be around for you. They don't get to do that. Just like if you are around, or because for me, I sift people by their toxicity. I sift people by their energy. I sift people by the things that I stand for. And if you are someone who don't stand for that, for me personally, I refuse to ever date an atheist. You understand? If you're an atheist, we just can't really go to that romantic side of things. We can barely talk, to be honest, because if you have no belief in God, we don't really have. And I ain't even talking about religion. I'm talking about spirituality. You know what I'm saying? I can't get on that train with you. I can't. We don't have much to really talk about, because my spirituality is what grounds me. And if I meet another person and they're grounded, we're gonna get along. You understand? If I need to, and we don't have to have the same religion. They just need to be spiritually grounded. And for me, with an atheist, when you don't have a belief in anything, I don't know how much we can really talk about. That's just me. But just outside of those things, I'm not going to sit here and play the victim mentality like something was done to me because you didn't co-sign my beliefs or what I like or whatever, because a difference of opinions is a difference of opinion. If you and I have a difference of opinion, I'm not going to disrespect you or think any less of you. We just have a difference of opinion. And in this today's society, if you have a difference in opinion, you're almost automatically, you're the enemy now. You're the enemy because you didn't co-sign my delusion. You didn't co-sign, my mental illness because I think this way, it has to be real. No, that's not how reality even works. And you're operating in a alternate reality.
I'll add Billy and I, now mind you, for anybody who does not know who I am, I've been married to this man for 15, shit, going on 16 years now. Oh, Lord have mercy. Um,
Mhm.
but like we have different religions, right? I
Mhm.
don't believe in religion. I'm
Mhm.
spiritual. He's a Christian. Um, he's a
Mhm.
Democrat. I'm a Republican. And
Mhm.
even through that, because we respect one another and because we had these conversations prior to coming together, we understood what we valued and why we value them. And guess what? We're still together. And people allow things like that to come in between them because they want so badly to sway a person to be one way or the other. No, just accept that person for who they are. If that's who you truly love and who you want to be
Mhm.
with, if he says he's a Christian, then if you love him, I mean, I know there are some, like you said, atheists just don't believe in nothing. Yeah, I can't get down with that one either.
Right.
But I'm open to different beliefs, different opinions. Um, and so, some things are deal breakers. Some things don't have to be deal breakers, is what I'm trying to say. Because some things can be worked through. As long as you're not being disrespectful to one another, trying to sway one another. Like I don't try to sway him to think the way that I do. He doesn't try to sway me to think the way he does. When he bows his head at the dinner table and says his prayer, even though I'm not a Christian, I bow my head. I might not say the prayer, but I bow my head because I respect him. When we speak with politics or even religion, it's more of a let me hear what he got to say, let me hear what she got to say, and then
Right.
we go to bed. That's it. Oh, that was a good conversation. Great. We can learn from one another. Everything doesn't have to be one-sided, like I'm so right and you're so wrong and you're so wrong and I'm so right. And that's the thing that I value in my relationship. I can say with my husband is that, I mean, hell, if anybody, well, you follow me, hell, I'm considered a witch. Like I use jars and incense and sage, and I salt my front porch, and I blow cinnamon, and I collect moon water. Like so, I would have been burnt at the stake by him 500 years ago. I'd have been burnt at the stake. But because we're in a different time and because we can have these conversations and we can respect one another's beliefs, it makes a huge difference. We don't tread on one another's beliefs. We don't tread on one another's opinions. We respect them. And that I think that's a huge difference in this day and age. People don't respect it. Everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants their opinion to be right instead of being open minded to at least listen, even if you don't agree, but you can at least listen.
Yeah. Yeah. I just because I mean, and then and that's the other side of things too. When you were talking about incense, crystals, different things like that, that's all spirituality. It has nothing. That's not tied into religion. It's all spirituality, and it's about your peace. It's about preserving your peace in your space, in your area, finding your frequency, your right frequency, finding where you can exist in a peaceful place in space, and whatnot. It has nothing to do with religion, and I think a lot of people they get it twisted when people start talking about crystals and different things like that. Spirituality is spirituality. Religion is a confined structure of a belief system, and whatnot. And it's usually about control. It's not really about God, because if it was, you wouldn't have the Christian Crusades where multiple people, like a lot of people, were murdered under the guise of Christianity and the belief of God. So let's just be very, very clear. So a lot of the times people are not looking deeper into certain things. They just look at it as surface deep. Well, you don't believe what I believe, so you got to be evil. No, I just believe something different. That doesn't mean that I don't believe nothing. I just believe something different. I have a spirituality about me. Like for me, throughout the years, I went from being religious to being more spiritual, because once I learned and got more understanding and stuff like that, then I knew where I stood. Now I still identify as a Christian. However, how I operate is more on a spiritual plane, and stuff like that, because I have understood a whole lot more throughout the years. I've gone through the rabbit holes. I've done a lot of reading about this and research about this, and my understanding and my discernment is a whole lot different than it was a long time ago when I was younger. So, so for me, that's how I categorize things. That's how I put things and stuff like that. So, and whatnot. So, yeah. Um, but also, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What did you about to say?
Oh no, for one, my camera's off because my phone is charging. Um,
That's cool.
so I can't set it up right now. But no, you made a very good point. Like, I don't know me, and I don't want to get too far off topic, but I do want to say this in reference to what we just said. Um, Me personally, religion is a man-made construct. It's a
Hmm.
man-made, and I'd like to see more people get back to being actually spiritual. Um, I was one of those. I was raised in what Kings of Comedy said. I went to church. Or Sunday was everybody's meeting. Saturday was the deacon's board. Friday was the usher board. Wednesday was Bible study. Like I was in church all the damn time. So I was raised in the church. So much so that I even wanted to be a minister, and I went and I took theology. And when I went and took theology, I don't know why they did this, but they taught me history and science at the same time. And things started to not add up. And so then I started to become a free thinker. And, it just, I just really want people to understand that they are one with the earth, that we are divinely created. We were not created from monkeys. I have to say this real quick. We were not created from no Big Bang theory. We did not evolve from monkeys. We were divinely created for a purpose on this earth. And this earth has been around so much longer than than they tell us that it has been. Um, but the spirituality is a big thing for me. And even though I call Billy a Christian by default, that's what I call him, and he laughs at me. So you're a Christian by default. He's a Christian because his parents are a Christian. They're
Hmm.
Christians. I ain't seen that man go to church. I've been with him for 15 years. I can count on one hand how many times that man been to church or
Hmm.
paid tithes or did anything. Okay, so no, you're not a Christian. Now his parents, I will give them that. I believe that they're Christian. They are wholeheartedly saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. They go to church, they volunteer for things, they go to Bible institutes. They really do the damn thing. And I will never ever tell somebody that they're wrong for doing that. If you believe in something wholeheartedly, if and that's what makes you a great person and a loving person, I'm all for it. Um, but a lot of times, again, we miss that spirituality part, and we've been indoctrinated to this religion part. And I really hope that a lot of us start to break away from this uh, man-made religion. And before I end that part, just know that that's not me saying that like the biblical texts aren't real, because I study the Bible. I even have all of the excerpts that are not included in the Bible that should be. I have the Book of Enoch, I have the Emerald Tablets, I have the Book of Gilgamesh, and I've read them
Oh
all.
wow. Wow.
So I'm very, yeah, yeah, I'm very, very into that. So I'm not saying that the Bible is not real, but what I'm telling you is that the Bible that they have presented to you, the King James Version, who was a white man, a King James version is not accurate. So and I'm actually waiting for my copy of the Ethiopian Bible, because that is the most accurate Bible. So I just wanted to put that out there because we were talking about that, and I think it's important for us as Black people to know these things,
I
because
think.
we were the beginning.
Hmm.
We were the
I,
beginning.
I think the Book of Enoch is one of the most fascinating books ever. It's very interesting how certain things were omitted from the Bible as we know it in America. I think it was very interesting and convenient that certain things were omitted, and it was just like, why wouldn't you omit that? And then I learned that if it was permitted, it would knock off the balance of what has been fed to slaves, to generations of Black people. It would literally set it it would literally just really throw all of the stories off, if you will. And it was just like I get it, because when you're talking about Nephilims, you're talking about Ananias, you're talking about a whole lot of different things that isn't covered in the religious text and stuff like that in churches and different things. Like there's a lot that is not covered. It's not covered because they choose to not cover it because they have to keep pushing a particular thing, and I don't like that. If you're gonna speak about the truth, then let it be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Don't sit there and say, "Well, we're only gonna give you parables. We're only gonna give you this, and then push it as this." No, give us all of it so that we can sift through it, sort through it, and work it out for our own personal lives. Don't do that to people, because if after the fact they learn about it later, it then puts them on a path of, I don't really trust you now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it has to people have to these people, they have to understand how, because like I said, when you're pushing the truth and you're saying this is truth, and then when you find out more other things that kind of contradict what you just said, how are we supposed to take that? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? How do you justify this whole book of information not being included? Why was it not included? Because they talk about giants too much, because they talk about this, there's a lot that's discussed in the book of Enoch that I feel like everybody should know.
Mm-hmm. And
But
and I think that it's sad that I had to order that. I got 17 Bibles in the house. I
wow.
do. I got, well, no, not 17. I got like about five. I keep them for Agnes because when Agnes comes over, she's always reading the Bible. So I always want to make sure I got a Bible available for her. And then I have one big Bible that like I break down, like where I write down all of the children's names, the ancestors' names. It's supposed to be one of those Bibles that you pass down through your generation. So I think it's pretty sad that I have to actually order the books that are not in there. Like I shouldn't have to order the Book of
No,
Enoch. I
you
shouldn't have to
shouldn't.
order
No.
the Book of Gilgamesh. I shouldn't have to order the Emerald Tablet. I shouldn't have to order any of that. It should already be there. But it's not. But like you said, it's because there was an agenda. And I've been saying this for decades because, like I said, I took theology when I was 20. I'm 47. I'm 47. So that's 27 years ago. And the Bible has been rewritten, translated. It has been manufactured to keep people in line, to do what the elites want us to do. That's all
Yep.
that is.
All right. So let's get back on track. Oh, have mercy.
Yes, let's
Oh,
get back on
because I can
track.
talk
Yes,
about this.
we
Because I
have
can
to have
talk about
another
this all night.
conversation.
Yeah, because I can talk about this all day. But
Yeah, we'll do that another
yeah. So
day.
but like I said, when it comes to that, we have to be very careful who we coddle, who we enable, because once you start just acquiescing to everything, once you start accepting everything, then you literally stand for nothing. You
Mhm.
literally stand for nothing. So when people go fall into their victim mentality, you have to call them on their stuff. You have to literally call them out on their stuff. And you don't have to do it publicly, but you have to address it. I have a friend right now who goes through a whole lot because he hasn't called anybody out on their stuff. When they're giving her hell, there's no pushback. There's no nothing. And then what she does is she'll concede to what they're saying, even if they're wrong. She'll concede. Let me explain something to you. Like it comes a time where you got to get out of your own way and stand on your own 10 toes down, and you have to call it as you see it. And if what you see is the truth and you know it is the truth, I'm not talking about your opinion. I'm not talking about your about an assumption. I'm talking about the truth. Let the truth stand on what it is, because the truth will be the truth at the end of the day. The truth will never change. 10 years ago, if the truth was this, today it's going to be the same truth. It's not going to vary. It's not going to fluctuate. It's not going to be whatever. So when you're telling someone the truth, you have to stand 10 toes down on that truth. I know people who will make a statement and it is false as hell, but the way they told you that it was just like they knew that this is what the truth was, and this thing that I just said is what it is. And if you're not careful, you'll fall for the trap to say, you know what? Is she right or is he right? You have, like, it'll make you think because the way they presented it. You have to do your own due diligence. You have to call it as it is. A lot of times on this show, we talk about relations between men and women, the battle, the tug of war, the differences of opinions, the misconceptions that men have with women, women have with men, different things like that. More so now, we'll see a lot of women who's convinced themselves, and speaking from a man's point of view, a lot of women who's convinced themselves that they're the cream of the crop. But if a man doesn't accept the nonsense that she spews out of her mouth, that is what she calls requirements to be with her, if he don't co-sign that, he ain't no real man. That's the little catchphrase that they like to use, the real man thing, to get men to say, "Oh, I'm a real man." Oh, first of all, manhood isn't based off of what you want. It's based off of what manhood really is. And if you're not a man who's never been through manhood, who doesn't know a thing about manhood, if you've never walked a shoe, an inch in a man's shoes, you don't get to dictate what manhood is to a man. Just because he's not willing to give you what you think you want. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. I had this conversation with my lady about this, and she says sometimes, well, then you're just not her market. You're not who she's looking for. She's looking for that guy who's going to pay for everything. She's looking for that guy who's going to be her sponsor. She's looking for that guy who's 6'7" and whatever. You can't get upset with that woman because you're not what her target market is. You're not, and she was right. She was right, but it's still irritating because those very same women will say, well, there's no good man. No, there's good men in your face that either you friend zone, you've curbed, you've ignored, or you've judged him off of some superficial crap that you're on, that you say is your standard. If it's your standard, cool. I see it as a preference, but it's your standard. Hey, that's cool. And like she said, she's just not for me. I don't get to whine about it. I don't get to be the victim. Oh, I'm 5'6" and she's judging me. I'm happy to listen. My 5'6" is because God got finished with me early. He didn't even take no more time. He got finished with me early. He was good. That's how I like to phrase it. But my whole point is that a lot of the times people go into this victim mentality. Oh, woe is me. Oh, well, did you? And the craziest part is they'll make the attack. They'll attack. And we've heard about Karens and all this other stuff. But as soon as they're slapped into another week or something like that by the person that they're trying to Karenize, yeah, I just made up a word. They'll go into victim mode. Oh my God, she slapped me. Oh my God, I can't believe she attacked me. Well, you started it. How are you going to go and say that person attacked you when they were minding their business and you went over into their business to start some crap because you're either racist, or you're racist, or maybe you're racist. They were minding their business, and you thought that you were empowered enough to go over and mind their business for them, and they asked you out of their business politely at first, and then now, since you literally forced yourself into their personal space, they checked you. So now they attacked you, huh? I don't understand how that works. That it doesn't really work that way. I'm sorry, it doesn't. You don't get to play the victim card when you initiated the violation. And this is the world that we live in now. People will attack you verbally, personally, sometimes physically, and then when you retaliate or either embarrass them verbally, they go into victim mode. So I don't know. I just feel like we got to make sure we choose our battles and choose our battles carefully.
I don't have that problem much because I just say what the hell I say and I don't care what nobody think about what I say. Um, but let me be fair. If I say something and I'm wrong and you prove me wrong, I'll say, you know what? I stand corrected. You're right.
And you
I
have
was
done
wrong.
that. You have done that.
I stand corrected. That was my bad. But that's another problem that we have. We can't be corrected. Um, you know so that's something else that we need to work on as individuals. When somebody is trying to correct you, it doesn't mean that they're trying to put you down, doesn't mean that you're less of a person. It's just them saying, hey, guess what, you were wrong about this one. This is the actual facts, or this is how you should handle this or that, and try it. Everybody's not out to hurt you. Some people are actually out to help you. And me and Dedrick have had several conversations on behind the scenes, where we could be talking about something my kids did or something, with just anything, and we're like, well, did I handle that right? And sometimes that will be like, you could have probably not said that part because that probably wasn't what you should have said. I get what you were going,
Right,
but you
right,
probably should have said it like this. And
right.
I'll be like, you know what? You're right. I probably should. I probably should have said it like that. Damn. All right, let me go apologize. And guess what I do? I go apologize. You know what? My bad. I was in my feelings. You know what? I still don't agree with you, but I didn't have to take it where I took it. And sometimes we need to learn how to do that, because we're always going to have differences of opinions, no matter um how relatable we may think we are with one another. Again, I mentioned my husband. He's a Christian. I'm a witch. I'm gonna call myself a witch because I love being a witch. He's a Democrat. I'm a Republican. Like, you couldn't find two polar opposites if you tried. And yet here we are, 16 years married, not an argument, never raised our voices at one another, always have loved one another, always done everything with one another. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on here. I'm saying that because it's true, you know. So opposites can be okay as long as there's
Yeah,
respect, and as long
yeah.
as there's also acknowledgement sometimes when somebody corrects you and says, hey, you know what, I don't like when you said XYZ about my religion. Let's just use that. And then I could say, you know what, you're right. I shouldn't have said that. I still think it's stupid because that's how I talk. I still think it's stupid, but you're right. I shouldn't have said that. I love you. Let's go to bed. But yeah, it's we got to learn how to coexist better. I think, because nobody's gonna have the same. Nobody's gonna be the same down. You're not gonna check. Nobody's gonna check every box. Not every box. It's not gonna happen. Whoever you're with, you're not gonna check every box. My husband, he sucks at cleaning. I'm a clean freak. Guess what? I just acknowledge that he's not great at cleaning, and I just do the fucking cleaning. I'm sorry, the cleaning. You know, I'm
So
not good
listen,
at
you didn't
bills.
say the B word, or you didn't say the N word. So you
I know, but
good.
I
This
still
is a
I
grown up.
still try I still try to be uh professional. No different than, like, I suck at bills. Like, that's why I don't pay
Mhm,
bills, because I
mhm,
forgot what I had on yesterday. So that's why Billy handles the bills. I'm not good at
mhm,
it. So there's
mhm.
there's compromise. We just have to learn one another, and sometimes we can be polar opposites in certain things, and that's where that balance comes in. And as long as you can communicate and understand where one weakness is or one strength is, then that's where that balance comes in. And I think that when we start to do that, things will be a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. And that's the other side of I know this is a little bit off topic when people were talking about 50-50. Let me explain something. 50-50 ain't what y'all think it is a lot of the time. It ain't what y'all think it is. It ain't splitting everything in half. That's not really. It's about you doing your. It's about being. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Counter. You're supposed to be the other person's counterpart. You're supposed to be the other person. Like
Hmm.
if they're pulling one side of the thing, you need to be pulling the other side of the things to keep the balance there. It's not always. It's rarely going to be equal. It's
Hmm.
rarely going to be equal. And let's just be very clear about that. It's very rarely going to be something going to be off balance somewhere, right?
Hmm.
But it has to work for the both of you. I don't give a crap what society say and what your girlfriend say or what anybody else say. It's about what works in your household under your roof. I remember when William was talking about how when he was with the guys and you was with the ladies and the guys was in a different place and he came to check to make sure he was like, okay, I'm ready to go, blah blah. He said, hey, I'm ready to go, or I forgot how it went, but my thing was is they're sitting there judging him because he's checking with you first of all, or the ladies are judging you because you checking with him. Like, first of all, this is what works under your umbrella. I don't
Hmm.
give a crap how y'all do y'all dysfunctional stuff under your own roof. You do what you do. But
Hmm.
if this particular communication system works for us, that's all you need to know.
Hmm.
Your household ain't my household. We have peace in our household. Do you?
No,
You see what I'm
well,
saying?
remember that. Long story short, the guys were ready to go. Me and the girls
Mm-hmm.
were on the back porch because we had let the boys, they wanted to play their Madden, and we had already had our games and drinks and stuff. So I took a couple bottles of wine on the back porch. I said, "Come on, ladies, let's just go to the back porch, let the boys have their time." They was playing Madden. The boys was ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so they sent Billy to come and tell the ladies that their men were ready to go. And the ladies was like, "Well, we not ready to go yet." I said, "Well, you heard them." And so Billy went back in the house and he was like, "Well, they said they not ready to go." And they was like, "Oh man." So uh any other time if I tell my woman that I'm ready to go, she get up and move. Your woman is a bad
Yeah,
influence
that's what
on
it
my
was.
woman.
That's exactly what it was. Yep.
Yeah, your woman a bad influence because if I say I'm ready to go, she gets up and moves. And he was like, "Well, shit, you sent me out there. You go and get them in. You go and get them." He said, "My woman at home where she's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So you go and get. You sent me. That I never forget that. That was so funny. We still talk about look. We still talk about that to this day. That's funny.
That's
Cause he
all.
was like,
Listen.
"Yo, like I went in. Y'all asked me to go. I did. They said they weren't ready. Now y'all fussing at me because they not ready. Then
Right.
y'all go out there and get y'all woman.
Right.
My woman at home,
Yeah. That's what it was. Cause I was it was just like, but look, you need to handle what you got to handle. We ain't got nothing to do with that.
right? That was the same party where we were sitting in the beginning, and he was in the kitchen, and he brought me a glass of water, and they lost their mind. I said, "Baby, why you in there? Can you bring me a glass of water?" And he brought me a glass of water, and they was like, "He brought you a glass of water?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And now, mind you, so you got to think this is 15, well, 16, so about 13 years ago. I had this big CD book because we didn't have all the stuff we got now. So I was like, "Babe," I said, "I want to play some music. Can you go to the car and get the CD book?" And he was like, "Yeah, baby, no problem." And they looked at me again, like he said, "No problem." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Why is this so shocking to y'all?" And they was like, "Shoot, he would have made me go get it myself." I was like, well, y'all better than me. I said, because if he asked me to do something, I do it. If he asked me for water, I'll get it. If he would have asked me to go get the CD book, I would have went and got it. I said, so we reciprocate for one another. But they literally was like, oh my God, like, how did you get him to do that? And I was like, I didn't get him to do anything. That's how he is. And he's that way because I'm the way that I am.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do for him and he does for me. I said, I'm sorry, y'all got that issue. I don't.
Yeah.
That was an eye opener to
And,
me.
and it's crazy how people see healthy relationships as a problem. Like you're so used to dysfunction that when you witness a healthy relationship and a healthy interaction between two people, you looking at them like, why is that so weird? Like what how is it weird?
Right.
I just don't understand. I remember I was at an event for one of Rhonda's organizations, and one of the gentlemen, I didn't realize I was being watched, but apparently I was. And so I was just sitting at the table enjoying myself because I was making my way around the whole thing. And then I just happened to sit down for a little bit, get me something to eat. I was sitting there having a little drink. And the gentleman came over to me. He said, "Hey, how you doing? I just want to introduce myself." And we started chatting it up. He said, "Hey, listen, I just wanted to tell you something. I have been observing you, and I hope that don't make you feel some kind of way." And I said, "Go on." And I'll let you know if it make me feel some kind of way. He said, "No, no, it's not like that." It's just, he said, "Look, we know her. We've known her for quite a while, and and stuff like that. And for you to come here, look, it's a lot of us men here. You understand? It's a lot of us very well accomplished men here, and you know what I'm saying. We come here, we have a great time with everybody, but it's not you will allow her to go and you mingle, and she's mingling, she's hugging people and all this other stuff, and you're unfazed by it. You're unbothered." He said, "Dude, you not understand. I've witnessed dudes come here and get so pissed off with their women and whatnot. They ended up breaking up, but it's just like they get so pissed off with their women for interacting with people. And I had just had to watch how you carried yourself, man." And he said, "I just gotta commend you, man. You look like you belong here. You know what I'm saying?" He said, "Because you don't stress her out. You all up under her all the time. You all like you just in your element, and you're doing what you do, and you're talking to people, and you're just vibing with the atmosphere, the music, and stuff like that." He said, "Man, I gotta say, I respect that so much, bro." I said, "You know what? I really appreciate that. I didn't realize I was being watched, first of all, but second of all, that's the kind of relationship we have. She's not jealous of me. She knows I'm a people person. I meet women every day, doing the business that I do. You understand? But I've never given her a reason to doubt my fidelity to her. I've never given her a reason to think that she had to compete with any other woman, and I'm not going to. And the same thing for me, vice versa. She's never given me a reason to doubt her fidelity to me, her loyalty to me. She's never given me a reason to doubt that. So
Right.
why would I sit there and be jealous because there's men that she hugs and greets and stuff like that? Because I would do the same thing for female friends and associates that I see and haven't seen for a while, or whatever the case is. It's not because I'm trying to hook up with them. It's because they're people. They're great people, and I love seeing them again. That's it. And that's how she is. She's a people person. She's in business and she deals with people all the time. So I
Yeah, I was
wouldn't be
gonna say, especially since y'all are both in businesses.
yeah. And I said
Yeah.
I would be doing her a disservice by being jealous
Hmm.
over the people that she meets. There are men. I dropped her off at me at get-togethers and stuff like that, and she's gone in there looking good. And I've seen men just kind of follow her. I've seen men do that, and I'm sitting here like, that's mad.
That's
You know,
mine.
you know.
That's mine. That's right.
So So for me, it never had anything to do with any kind of jealousy. Guess who's calling? Guess who's calling? So, but anyway, you can go ahead and start talking. Let me answer this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead
Answer
and
the phone
answer.
call.
No, you go ahead and start talking. I'll answer it.
Oh, no, I was saying that's right. Like that's mine. Sure. When Billy leaves the house, look, Billy is around all female teachers. Look, he's a teacher, right? What is the dynamics of his job? He has 80% female coworkers. That man leaves the house in a suit and tie, smelling good every day. And every morning I tell him, "You look so nice. You're so gorgeous." Nah, I tease him. I be like, "You trying to find somebody else, huh?" And he be like, "Go stop playing." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And but again, I know that he has to interact with people because that's his job. He's going to interact with women. Am I jealous? No, for what? That's my husband. He has, like you said, he has given me no inclination of infidelity or wanting to be somewhere other than home. Um, like I told you the story before, and I was a little ashamed of the story, but I'll say it again. There was a time where his phone was sitting next to me, and there was a family emergency. He was getting ready to go to his parents' house, and so I had plugged his phone up because I wanted it to be fully charged before he hit the road. And I see this phone call, and it say peace. And I'm like, who the hell is peace? Who the hell? Who the hell is Pete? What the? When I looked at the phone number, I said, "Oh shit, that's a house number." He said, "Babe, I can't find my phone. I've been calling it from the house phone." I'm like, "You named the house phone Peace?" He said, "Yeah, the house is my peace. My family, my wife is my peace." I'm so glad that I didn't say nothing else because I would have felt so fucking stupid. I really I really would have felt so stupid if I would have been like,
Oh,
"Well, who the hell is Peace? Who the hell Peace calling you?" And then, but luckily, I looked at the number and I was like, "That's the house number." I said, "Oh," but I tell that story to say that a man's peace is important. I, I kid you not. It don't matter how good you cook. It don't matter. There are so many things that don't even matter. It don't matter how much money you make. It don't matter how many degrees you got. It don't matter. If that man thinks that when he pulls up in the driveway, that his children and his wife are going to greet him with joy and they're going to embrace him and he's going to just it's peace. That's what a man wants to come home to. It's peace. That's my message on that one. That's the lesson I learned that day. Because, and don't get me wrong, I did not think he was cheating. But for a split second, I was like, who the hell Peace? And then when I saw the number, I'm like, oh, that's a house phone. He looking for his phone. But then it just dawned on me. I said, he programmed the house phone in his cell phone as Peace. And that made me as a wife feel magnificent
I know it
because
did. I know it did.
it did because I'm just like, so when you pull up to this house, you feel peace. I am so happy that I, as a wife and as a mother, gives you that. If I can't give you nothing else, I give you peace. I'm good. I've done my job. I'm doing my job. If you feel that you are at peace when you walk
Absolutely.
in these doors.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I think women, a lot of women don't understand this concept. Respect, it turns in that's what turns into love for us to you. The way we express love is through our actions to you. It's not about what we say to you to make you feel good because we saying it. It's about what we do for you because you've shown us respect in so many different types of ways. Respect is shown in so many different types of ways. It does not constitute bowing down. It does not constitute subservience. It does not constitute you just letting him do whatever he want to do. Ladies, I don't know where y'all got that from. That's not what submission means. Submission comes from both sides. We both do it in different ways. The same way, I don't know if you guys were listening when Jessica said that she's not good with finance when it comes to paying the bill. If she knows that's something that she's not strong in, she submitted that to him, right? There's something that he's not good with. Guess what? He submitted that to her. That's what her strong suit is. So he doesn't try to, well, let me go ahead and try to do that. No. She's good at this. She knows what she's doing when it comes to this. So he allows her to go on, not allows her, but that's what she does, and he falls back. Look, that ain't my wheelhouse. So I'm not about to sit there and be like, oh, I'm the man. I'm gonna beat my no. She's stronger at that than me. So I'm gonna stay in my lane over here. And vice versa. Y'all have to understand, number one, what submission means. Submission does not mean bowing down, being subservient to somebody, letting somebody walk all over you, you losing your identity. That's not what that means. If the person that you love or who says they love you, they're not going to allow you to lose yourself. They're not going to allow you to be walked upon by themselves or anybody else. They're going to be your protector. They're going to be there for you. They're going to be your covering. Vice versa for a woman. There's certain ways a woman covers her man. There's certain ways that she does certain things that knows that he doesn't even have to say certain things. She's got him in that side of things. Y'all have to understand, y'all are choosing wrong and then get mad when that person has shown themselves to be the wrong person. Now you mad at yourself because you wasted time. People, y'all gotta really pay attention to who's in front of you. Guys, if you're not sure about whether or not this woman is going to be your forever, can y'all practice safe sex? Can y'all practice that, please? Even though she's the gatekeeper to sex, you're the gatekeeper to what causes pregnancy. She has the ovaries. That's in her lockbox. But them tadpoles will go to that lockbox if you ain't careful. There's no other way to get there unless you release the Kraken. All right? That's the only way for anything to happen is that if you release it. And if she allows you to release it, you have to be smart. Don't be sitting there talking about, oh, she's this, she's that, after you done got her pregnant. Guess what? If she was all that before you got her pregnant, then you shouldn't lay down with her. And ladies, if you don't know that man well enough to know whether or not he can be a good provider, father, or whatever, if he hasn't displayed any of those things to you, what you doing? You're the gatekeeper of your body. You're the safekeeper for that. Mm-hmm. So everybody has to be accountable. Everybody has to be accountable to who you allow in your life. I look at Jessica and Mr. William there. They were deliberate about how they went about doing things. Was everything always perfect? No. However, they were deliberate about what they each wanted in their lives. And once they came to that, and correct me if I'm wrong, and once they knew without a shadow of a doubt, this is my person, they did what was necessary to get to where they needed to go. Am I wrong?
Nope, not at all.
So my whole point is that there is no such thing as a perfect relationship. You have to get with what works for you. Don't try to make somebody into what you want them to be. They're either what it is or they're not. It's just that simple. Now, people can change to get better and grow, sure. But please, don't try to make somebody be something that they're not and whatnot. Just because you're afraid to be lonely, just because you don't like being lonely, there's a lot of people that don't like being lonely. Most of us don't like being lonely. But don't make life based off of that.
I'd add to And yes, this one is going to be more specifically towards the women, but the men can learn something from it too. Stop expecting perfection. You're not going to get perfection. In 15, 16 years, I still don't have perfection. And the man's been living with me for 15, 16 years. And he still drives me insane some days. You would think by 15, 16 years, he would know exactly how I am and he would just do exactly what I wanted him to do to not stress me the hell out, right? That's what we would think, right? But he's a human being. He's an individual. Just because you unite to become one doesn't mean that you're not still individuals, right? So some things that drives me absolutely insane about Billy, they're minuscule because I can look further than the minuscule and see the bigger goal, the bigger achievement. I can see what he does outside of. So I'll give a stupid ass example. So maybe he'll leave his socks and shit on the floor, but he'll take off early to take the boys to football practice. Am I going to bitch about the socks on the floor? Right? Because a lot of women do that. Oh, he left the socks on the floor. He left the shirt on the floor. But he took off early and he went to go take your sons to football practice or basketball practice. Which one's more important? Are the socks important? Or could you just pick them up? Or is taking off the time because he wants to be at the football practice with his sons? Is that important? So sometimes we have these high expectations for men, and they're doing the best they can sometimes. Their work, speaking for my husband, I can speak for my husband only. He does everything. He pays all the bills. He picks up extra things to make sure that we're not struggling. He goes to every game. He plays outside with the boys. He takes them hunting. He takes them fishing. He takes Monica to the park just so I can get a couple of hours to take a shower and just do me. So am I going to bitch about his socks on the floor? I don't bitch about his socks on the floor. Well, sorry for the B word, but I didn't mean it in that way. I mean nag. I'm not going to nag about the socks on the floor because he does so much more. And a lot of times we women, we don't pay attention to what men are really doing. And especially, I have to say this before we get off, especially if you have a man that is 100% provider. I do not think that women understand to the full extent what 100% provider means. A lot of times women just think of rent, lights, cable. They're not thinking about car note, car insurance, car gas in the car maintenance, health insurance, life insurance, vacations, holidays, birthdays. They do everything. And I can say that because my husband never lets us down. We go on vacations. Our holidays are good. He's been paying the bills for the last 5 years now. Doesn't miss a beat. So if you have a man that is 100% provider, but you crying about you can't go get your nails done or you can't go get your hair done, that's because he's paying for your health insurance. He's paying for your car insurance. He's paying for the mortgage, the utilities, the internet, the cable. He's paying for everything. And women take that for granted. I don't like that. If you have 100% provider, girl, appreciate him because he's doing more than you know. And he has savings. I don't know how the hell he does it. That's why he takes care of the finances. Because yeah, I don't know how he does it. We have a nice little stash, but he makes it happen. Groceries, necessities, soap, clothes, back to school, football, basketball, all that stuff costs money. We got 3 kids and me. I've never needed nor wanted for anything within reason. Like if I'm asking for a $10,000 TV, he gonna tell me get the hell out of space because we're not doing that. But the point is, when you have a provider that's really doing the damn thing, appreciate that, man. And I land my plane on that one. I had to say that. I had to get that one out since we were
Well, I'm
talking about
glad
like
you
the
did.
50-50.
I'm glad you did. And folks, I really hope you got the nuggets from that. I really hope you got the nuggets from that because I'm dipping that in sauce. I'm dipping all that in sauce because one day I want to be the 100% provider. And that's something I'm working towards and stuff like that. You understand? I want to be that 100%, and whatnot. So for me, I admire that, and I commend that. I respect that so much because that's hard to do. That's hard to do, but it's easy to do when you're in the right situation. Let me make sure I put that way too. It's as hard as it is. It's easy to do in the right situation and circumstance when you're with the right person, because that comes with balance as well. That comes with balance. You're able to do that when the other side of the coin is taken care of. You understand? Because you also, Jessica, are a 100% provider too, but on the other side of the coin, you take care of that house like he couldn't possibly take care of that house. You understand? You take care of all the needs and stuff like that within that household that he does not have to take care of, so that he can go out and do what he's supposed to do to provide for that whole household. So it works hand in hand. It works together. It works together. There's no such thing as just is this me and it's what I want. It's not no I. There's no I. They already heard it. There's no I in team. Well, you both are a team. You understand? So the household does not float if both of you are not on the same page. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us, we try to force things. We try to force things when we're in the wrong situation. You can't do that. And if you're in the wrong situation and you try to force things, it's just not going to work, and whatnot. And that's just the God honest truth. Okay. So right now, I want to go ahead and do my sponsorship as far as um, Soul Flow Conversations. First and foremost is Meet the World Image Solutions. If you've never heard of her, it's Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson. She is the founder, the proprietor, and she's what makes that work. Um, Meet the World Image Solution is a literary company that helps you realize your dreams of being an author, getting your work out there, getting people to see your work, whether it be editing, whether it be any of that stuff. That's where you want to be. And if you want to do that, then guess what? You want to go to Meet the World Image Solutions, okay? And you can go and find her, contact her, check out her merch and stuff like that, because you're gonna love her merchandise and stuff like that. Um, you want to go to www.mtw, that stands for Meet the World. So you go to www.meettheworldimagesolutions.com. Okay. And whatnot. And also by Mr. Craves Cookies, where it's a party in your mouth. Okay. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Craves Cookies. If you want some of the best gourmet homemade cookies you've ever tasted, that's what you're going to want to do, is go to Instagram at MRCRAVES Cookies on Instagram. We're working on a website, trying to get that up, get all the little kinks worked out and stuff like that. So the website will be back up momentarily. So guys, thank you guys for tuning in, and back to our summary of the show and whatnot. Like I said, Miss Fields dropped some amazing nuggets. Like I told you, I'm gonna go ahead and dip all them nuggets in sauce. I'm telling you that right now, because she touched on some gems, and she can touch on those gems because what she's saying, she's a married woman and she's been married for quite a long time. And guys, marriages like that, they don't work unless the both of you are working. Okay, I'm not married yet. Will be soon, but I'm not married yet. But I do understand healthy marriages when I see them. My grandfather, my grandmother had a healthy marriage, so I had something to see, had something to watch. I watched how they counterbalanced each other. I watched how they spoke to each other, they treated to each other, and they showed that and displayed that to their children, so that their children knew how to treat their significant others when they got to adulthood and stuff like that. It's how I would do is how I would actually do when I get married and stuff like that. But I have to display that now, right now. I'm in a relationship, serious relationship. I'm going to propose. I'm doing all that, but I have to show that I can be that man now, not after marriage, because people just don't all of a sudden just change after marriage and be this perfect person. No, you have to display those things before you get to that point to where you even want to propose and stuff like that, or where she can even see you as the man that she could see herself being in her and sharing her life with. So it goes hand in hand. Both of you have to see something that tells you, guess what? Yeah, this is the one. All right. And for me, I feel that way. Jessica and William, they felt that way about each other. So it's one of those things that you have to do and whatnot. So I hope you got a good gem from what Jessica said. So, and before we go, I want to make sure Jessica says anything else, one last thing before we close out.
Just that I agree with you. When you're considering marriage, you have to cross your T's and you have to dot your I's and make sure that that person is the one that you truly want to settle down with. And that is the issue that a lot of people have with marriage. One of the things that I would say is if you are considering marrying somebody, this was how I looked at it, is that I looked at him and I said, can I see myself sitting on the porch with him when my vajayjay is dry and it's no longer exciting? What do I have with him after that? Right? Because let's be real, that happens, right? We get old. We get old. Do we have a friendship? Do we have a connection? Do we have a loyalty to one another? And the answers were yes. I can completely see myself sitting on the front porch with my husband, hopefully, knock on wood, at the ages of 85, 90, 95, watching our children play in the front yard. It's no longer sexual. It's no longer the butterflies at that time. It's the look what we accomplished. Look what we did. That's what marriage is. That's what marriage is. Especially if you're having children. Okay, I know that you and Rhonda um, already have probably preceded that. I'm not saying it can't happen, but you probably already preceded that. But especially for those who are looking to start a family, that is something that I took into consideration. Um, and also, marriage is more than just love. Marriage is about respect and loyalty and dedication. And if that's not something that you're down for, then just don't get married. Um, we have our times, good times, bad times, great times. Mostly great times. I'm happy to say that. But everybody has their ups and downs. And just if you're gonna get married, just do it for the right reasons. Marry the right person for the right reasons. Not just because you're I try to be correct here. Not because you're uh being satisfied in a sense. Because sometimes we do that because we're being satisfied for the moment. We think that we want to marry this person, and then that person no longer satisfies us, and then now we're on to the next, and we don't want to be married anymore. But now we've made this commitment to a person. That's really the extent of it. Marriage is it's a great thing. People always talk about marriage in a negative way. And the one thing I always say, marriage is great when you marry for the right person for the right reason. So that would be my ending message.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that last bit that she just said is extremely important, guys. There's so much negativity surrounding marriage right now because men are talking about, there's no benefit for them. And in general, when you're looking at the climate of how people are looking at using people and how selfish people are and stuff like that, yeah, it does look like it's not a benefit for men at all. However, like she was saying, when you find the right person, you vet the right person, and that person shows you that I'm not talking about words. Words anybody can say. Anybody can say words. But when a person is showing you on a consistent basis who they are to you and that you mean what they say that you mean to them, then they show it with their actions on a consistent basis. Those are the things that you need to take into account. And it's highly beneficial to a man to have the right woman in his life. It is highly beneficial because the right woman elevates a man to even higher heights. He can achieve high heights on his own. But when he has the right woman, you don't understand how much higher and how much elevated he can go when he has the right woman by his side, because she brings a different element into his life that can really, really exponentially make him excel even more because he has more incentive. Is this part of it? He has more incentive. He has more to live for, basically. Like it's that important to men when it comes to that, especially to a woman he loves, he cares about, and stuff like that. It's not a game when it comes to the woman that a man is in love with. You understand? And he displays why his love for that woman through his actions and his care for that woman, based off of how he's being made to feel, the respect that he gives her, the care that she gives to him, and stuff like that. And it is not an imaginary thing; it's a real thing. So, but anyway, with that being said, because that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, thank you guys for coming through. Thank you guys for being here, sharing this time with us. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, and on behalf of Dedrick, the Cookie Man, and Jessica, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Hey, we're gonna have to have a show one day on spiritual